All right. Happy Wednesday night. It is the last Wednesday night in which we do not look forward to a college football game on the ensuing Saturday.
Picks.
So you know what that means. The return.
Picks without the voice of God.
Return.
She's still holding to that, huh?
We got a final no voice of God.
Return of the Mac. Return of the Mac. No, she's coming back. Don't get
I like that. She wants to go out on bottom.
Oh.
We are SEC After
Dark. Andy knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm still around after last night, surprisingly. Steve was worried about me. He was like the worried mama.
Yeah, it was like we're really going to turn Corey loose on those guys. And yeah, it was scary. We made it though.
We made it. We made it. So it's like Steve was worried like a mother's worried about like her son when they move to a new neighborhood and like he makes new friends and it's the first time he goes out of the house, rides his bike down the street and you're like, oh God. But it's okay. Came back in one piece. Couple scrapes here and there.
And I got to sit at the grown-ups table.
Some grass stains on the shorts. We're good.
Yeah. You're sitting in a room with me and Georgia and Texas and Alabama talking about an SEC preview. I'm like, what is going on here?
Look at
right
one of these is not like the others.
That's crazy.
So, but we are SEC After Dark. That is Stephen Willis, Jeb Beecham, Jake Thomas joining me on this wild adventure that we call SEC After Dark. Join us, man. Join us in the chat. Everyone's probably taking their last week of non-football and enjoying it because it's going to be a whirlwind from here on out as the season gets underway. So it's going to be a lot of fun. First major matchup is Georgia Tech, Florida State across the pond in Dublin, Ireland.
Right.
That was my Irish accent. Probably not very good, but got to work on that before next week. So how you boys doing?
Pretty good.
Doing
Pretty good.
Yep.
I guess fine.
I watched a little bit of preseason NFL this weekend, and I just got to say real quick, still a little indifferent about the kickoffs. It's kind of weird, but
working out well for the Titans. But
I was at the Titans game. Kyrus Jackson, shout out Georgia Bulldog, was the return guy, and he might have won himself a job.
He might have had. He had a good game.
But yeah, I was at the Titans game. Took my nephew,
and that linebacker, that Chance guy, he showed out.
He's Ole Miss,
yeah, he showed out the other night too.
Steve doesn't need his head pumped up anymore.
I already look like Mr. Mackey over here.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Hey Steve, why don't you tell us about Stewart's Cajun Dill Pickles?
Oh, it is time to get locked on pickles. Stewart's Cajun Dill Pickles, that is. They offer a wide variety of Cajun spice products like pickles, green beans, okra, even carrots, and asparagus. It's family-owned, homemade on the coast of Mississippi. Their pickles have been pleasing pickle lovers for over 20 years now, and they have become the South's favorite pickle. This being a small business, they strive to keep the product fresh and local from the start, keeping the final pickle product extra crisp and crunchy. You can find this online at thepicklestore.com or at your local Rouse's Market or other local Southern Gulf Coast stores near you. Be sure to like Stewart's Cajun Dill product on Facebook and Instagram. Try their pickles, okra, and beans today. You will not be disappointed. Stewart's Cajun Dill Pickles, the South's favorite pickle.
Man, I'm excited about Stewart's Cajun Dill Pickles, man. You should. It's not even about the main event. It's not even about the pickles. It's
What's up, Daniel?
The other stuff. I love all the other stuff. What's up, Daniel? Welcome back. You're the man.
Yeah, it's getting close to football season.
But he's back in the loop. You should stay in the loop with us, Daniel. Don't go. So, like we said, next week is picks, and when we start picking next week, it's going to be presented by BetOnline.ag, your number one source for all of your sports wagering needs. Whether you took advantage of the Olympics or not, there's still plenty to bet on, including Major League Baseball. But right now, you can receive a 50% welcome bonus or a 50% free bet of up to $250 on your first deposit to bet on anything from baseball to Formula One racing and even UFC. BetOnline has every stat, every matchup, and even live odds and spreads while games are being played. And when the game's over, head on over to our online casino and get in on a game of blackjack or poker, or unwind with one of our over 150 slots games. Ooh. So head to the website today, get in on the action, use promo code BELIEVE, it's BLEAV, for your 50% free bet credit on your first deposit of $250. BetOnline, the game, it starts here. So this show, it starts here. So we've got, and this is there's an episode coming soon for where Steve and I live for part of our podcast tour here. There's a SEC preview show, so our rundown reflects that: contenders, pretenders, and bottom feeders. All right, so we're gonna kind of sort out this jumbled mess and who we think based on where teams are right now in their pre-fall camp journey. Are they contenders, pretenders, or are they bottom feeders? I think I know the answer to Vandy. Locked on Vandy is a contender, but the Vanderbilt Commodores, I'm afraid, are contenders. No, they're bottom feeders until proven otherwise.
Candy. And your other school that you cover, Believe in Georgia Dogs, they are contenders.
They are very much contenders.
That covers 1 in 16.
Yep. So if there's a category above contenders, they are favorites.
Yeah, I think Georgia, if we're going to be honest, they're the only team in the conference to where it's national championship or bust. For a successful season for Georgia to win this season, they have to win the national title.
I think this is the first time Georgia's been this way.
Yeah.
And you know what? So Kirby, you know how I know Kirby has a career in comedy after he gets done coaching? Because he got up in his press conference and talked about how this is the least depth that they've had since he's been there.
What?
That might be true. No, but seriously, that might be true. That may not be coach speak. Now, when Georgia wins the national championship and somebody hops up there and says, everybody said we were going to win 6 games this year, we're going to roll our eyes at that. But this might literally be the least depth team in Corey's history or Kirby's history because of the transfer portal. I think 1 through 44, you can build a really talented roster, but the bottom of that roster is going to be really tough to stockpile the way that Alabama and Georgia and Texas used to do.
Yeah, it's going to be very transient. So, but yeah, Georgia's very much contenders. Steve, your Ole Miss Rebels, very much contenders.
I was going to say, I know Georgia, it's national championship or bust because of the way their team's built and, how they've been playing the last 2 years. We know what they're going to do. Ole Miss might have the most pressure on them of any team in the SEC because the way Lane Kiffin has run this offseason is we're throwing everything at a national championship this year.
Yeah.
I feel like it's a little bit – I feel like for them it's on a slightly lesser scale. It's college football playoff or bust, I think, for Ole Miss, which is still quite an accomplishment. And I think even – Steve, would you go as far as saying even winning the first-round game or bust?
No, I don't know about winning. I think Ole Miss is still at the point where just getting to the dance signifies a good season. Even though they're really good and they have the talent to make a nice run in the playoff, but just get into the tournament. That's where Ole Miss kind of is at this point.
And then when Auburn fires Hugh Freeze, they're going to come after Lane Kiffin again? Is that what we're rolling with here?
Yeah, no, Auburn is not going to do that again. Auburn learned their lesson on that one.
Well, did they? Aren't they pretty stubborn over there?
By the way, they asked about Deion Smith. Deion Smith, he's working through his compliance and stuff like that. Whenever Bruce Feldman from The Athletic said that he was going to practice yesterday and then he didn't, there was probably a snag in compliance, not a problem. He's going to practice probably Thursday, maybe Friday, and he'll be ready by the time Kentucky comes around to be a full-fledged member of the team.
That's right. Well, Kentucky, speaking of Kentucky, like where do they fall? Because to me, I think they're pretenders, which means they're like middle of the pack.
That's where they're always at.
This is what I think about this list. You have 4 contenders, roughly. In my opinion, it would be Georgia, Alabama, Texas, and Ole Miss. Those are 4 teams that you look at. These 4 teams should be in the playoff whenever you look at it on paper. Then pretenders, you have the LSUs, the Tennessees, the Oklahomas, right on the periphery to where if it goes well, they could find themselves in the playoff, and then everybody else is the bottom feeders. It's like number 8 in the conference and below, they're actually the bottom feeders.
I can see that.
And Vandy is the runt of the litter.
Or Mississippi State. I am not 100% sure that Vandy is going to be worse than Mississippi State this year.
Steve, I'm with you there. They're starting to see Vandy's starting to figure some things out on offense. Pavia's, I mean, it was a battle there for a minute, but Pavia is now starting to take the lead like everyone in the world thought he would. And they're starting to kind of find a rhythm now on offense. Coincidentally, when you start to find a regular quarterback, you start to find a little bit of a rhythm. So, but yeah, Mississippi State's going to struggle. South Carolina's going to struggle. I think Arkansas is going to be up and down. It's going to be a roller coaster.
Florida's
They
going to
got Bobby.
struggle.
They got Bobby P though.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
Florida. Oh my gosh.
Mhm.
Florida.
That last 5 games on Florida's
So
schedule just gives me nightmares. And
Mhm.
I'm not even a Florida fan, but just the fact that could happen, that's almost evil. Florida has to be 6-1 to go to a bowl game. If they are not 6-1 after their first 7 games, they are not going to a bowl game.
I think Kirby and Mike Norvell got together and made that schedule
Yeah.
because that is awful.
And Florida
That's not
has like the 4th most NFL prospects in the SEC this year, or something like that. They have a pretty good team. The problem is they have Graham Mertz. They don't really have a running attack, and they have that schedule that's just absolutely horrible.
Why is Phil Steele so just gung ho on Graham Mertz? I don't get it.
I think his interception rate, he doesn't turn the ball over.
But he's not.
The problem with that is Billy Napier doesn't throw the ball downfield. That's the reason they don't turn the ball over.
They don't take any chances. It's all
Yeah.
check downs and runs, and they can't.
And
They can't get anything consistent. Like any drives that go over 10 plays, they rarely are successful because it's more.
and
more chances.
Florida's best running backs now the running back at Georgia.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that's going really well.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's crazy, man. Like I just don't. G5 Billy, man, he's G5 Billy for a reason.
Yep, LinkedIn Billy.
LinkedIn Billy. I think Shane Beamer would be a hell of a G5 coach also.
Yeah.
I think he would do a great job down there somewhere in the Sun Belt. And that's no shot at the Sun Belt. I think, there's places for every coach, and I think Shane Beamer would light it up at Arkansas State.
Or at Georgia State.
Or Georgia State. Georgia State would be a great one. Or Georgia Southern even.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, Clay Helton's already on that renovation tour.
Yeah, he's doing a
Statesboro.
good job. He's doing a good job down there at Georgia Southern. And I that's just kind of where it is. Like Billy Napier needs to go back to Louisiana and take over one of those schools. He'd be great down there. He'd be great at a G5 school like Georgia Tech.
No, Georgia Tech is on the verge of becoming legit.
I know.
They're working on it.
I can't.
Yeah, they I don't know what woke them up, but all of a sudden, they're acting. It's like, well, Ole Miss is good, so maybe we need to act like it's the 50s as well.
Well, no. Here's what happened. Brent Key came in there and was like, "What the bleep is going on here?" And he's like, "This is not going to cut it." And he's gone scorched earth over there, man. He's just lit everybody up. And Jeff Collins, man, he tore that thing apart.
Listen, there's going to be people watching this stream right now. There's 89 people in the stream that are not going to like this. They are not going to like this.
Somebody already didn't like it.
Georgia Tech should be in the SEC. And with all this expansion and reorganization, Georgia Tech should be back in the SEC. Georgia Tech belongs in the SEC. Alabama's fight song mentions Georgia Tech.
Right.
Steve, if you didn't kick him out,
Personally,
no, we would not.
Hold that grudge.
No. They left on their own volition. We did not let them back in.
Well, either way, you won't let him back in, Steve.
We held a grudge.
If you walk out that door, don't you come back.
Johnny Vaughn and Stephen Willis were arm in arm going, yeah, Georgia Tech ain't coming back.
Well, Bobby Dodd refused to play football in the state of Mississippi.
Damn.
Steve's like, that's a crime right there.
Yeah. He wouldn't do that. And then whenever you need help, after you say these negative and horrible things about them and they don't help you, that's not really their fault.
No, I get it. I'm just using this to give you a hard time. But
yeah.
I totally get it. You can't go on a scorched earth tour and expect the people whose earth you scorched to be so gracious and welcoming.
Hmm.
It's like if I punch you in the face and then ask you for $5, like, come on now, like it's not gonna happen. So fine, let Georgia Tech back in, but they have to play the Mississippi schools the first 5 games at the Mississippi schools.
I would be all for that from Buster Brown. Yeah, I would be all for that. But yeah, Georgia Tech fits. Tulane fits too. Whenever they're trying to find fits for the SEC and the expansion, remember Tulane and Georgia Tech. It just makes sense. Get some extra names if you want them, but those two need to be on the list.
Swanee's got to.
I agree.
Just
no, they don't. Stop that.
Just throw it back in there.
Swanee didn't have any business to come in the SEC the first time. It's the reason they backed out of it in like 3 years.
And they're Division 3 now, by the way.
Yeah.
In case you're wondering.
But it's just one of those things. The SEC has done a really good job of having a conference that is in the southeastern part of the United States of America.
Yeah, they're the only conference they're regional and national at the same time because they're so popular.
Do you know who else is in the southeastern part of the United States of America?
Stewart's Cajun Dill Pickles.
Besides that, yeah.
The Kansas Jayhawks.
Oh,
Yeah.
Is Kansas a
if you draw a cross in the middle, like completely segmented, I think that Lawrence, Kansas is in the eastern part of that state.
Interesting. Lance Leipold. Get him out. I don't want him. No,
Kansas, North Carolina, and Virginia would make the SEC the best basketball conference. It would make a whole lot of sense.
We already are taking over all the other sports. Yeah. Just make it more.
It's true.
Just kind of is what it is.
Well, I mean, they really should just in the new P5, they should, or P4 now, they should do that and say, okay, bloop, bloop, bloop.
You can't do that with the Big 12 and the Big 10 now.
Well, you just say blow it up and start over. But yeah, you could.
Yeah. The Big 10's trying to have somebody in all 5 time zones.
Yeah.
Who's gonna win expansion into London first, the Big 10 or the NFL?
Well, the Big 12 was talking about, remember the Big 12 Mexico thing where they were going to play Big 12? Yeah, that's gone away as well.
Yeah. Big 12 in Brazil.
Yeah. How about Tennessee putting Pilot on the field?
Yeah.
Oh,
Tennessee gets the money. Yeah, Tennessee was going to get the money that they were always going to get. Which are the brothers that own that?
Haslam.
Yeah.
The Haslam brothers. Yeah.
Jimmy Haslam.
You're always going to get that money. Now you just get some free advertising. Well, not free advertising, but yeah. You put it on the field. It's like
you also own the Browns too. So
and I believe like the Columbus Crew SC.
Oh.
They own that one too.
So they're like Tennessee's the black sheep of the family then, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, really.
With the ownership family. It's like they're all Ohioans.
Well, let's get that NIL money to work. Come on.
Yeah,
at Ohio State.
I don't have a problem with this. If you go to Corky Kell, any high school state championship, the Blue Cross Blue Shield logo is on the field.
It's everywhere.
We've actually been doing this for 20 years. We just haven't been doing it at the college level.
The state championships of Tennessee is the Blue Cross Bowl.
Yeah.
So it's called.
This isn't anything that's crazy. And they're like, well, what about? They're eventually going to take the Big 12 and they're going to sell the naming rights. It's like, yeah, the Barclays Premier League. Yeah, that's a new thing.
Yeah, it's
It's like that. This is all normal stuff.
yeah.
Let's not act like this is pure.
Yeah, it's not pure at all. I mean,
Yeah.
Kroger Field, Kentucky actually got started. Kroger Field, the grocery bag. Pilot Stadium, First Bank Stadium, that's Vanderbilt. I mean, it's going to happen, folks. Zaxby Stadium, that's going to be Georgia. Probably
Won't be long before Ole Miss has either a real tree stadium or a real tree on the field.
No, Georgia's going to have REM. Just the picture of the band on the field. Steve's like,
the red coat band.
No, REM. You know REM, Steve?
Yeah, I'm just messing with you.
Jesus. Killing me. All right, good night. Is it 2 minutes yet?
Yeah, mess with the Athens person.
REM. It's the end of the world as
we know it.
Love REM. I don't know what Georgia's logo would be. I don't know what they would have. Coca-Cola, I guess, or Delta.
But those aren't Georgia people. Who is the booster? Who is the Bill Haslam?
Yeah, I don't know.
The Jimmy Haslam. Is it Bill or Jimmy?
Jimmy.
Yeah.
Bill's the former governor, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's all the same thing, but it's basically like a public and a private face of the family.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the private face is the one who owns Pilot.
Like Auburn would, Auburn's going to have Yellowwood on the field.
Yeah. That's it.
Yeah,
I don't know. I really don't know.
Was it like Sabrina the Teenage Witch in Alabama?
Augusta National?
Yeah.
I don't know. Like,
yeah.
No, that doesn't have the money to do that either.
I
They want money going into Augusta National, not vice versa.
I mean, I guess by default it would probably be. I don't know. It'd probably be Delta. Delta's on the headsets.
Okay.
Delta's the ones on the headsets.
Oh, you know what it would be?
What?
It would be Chick-fil-A.
Oh,
Is that
yeah.
true, Kathy? I don't know if he's a Georgia guy. I don't know if he's a booster.
Well, something like I don't know.
I mean, if it's going to be, if it's Chick-fil-A, it's just as much Chick-fil-A as is probably going to be Coca-Cola.
Yeah, and Louisiana, LSU, and Texas A&M, and Texas is going to be some oil company
That we've never heard of.
Oh no, we will have heard of them.
ExxonMobil.
Yeah, yeah. How many times has Texas or Texas A&M did something that was subtle?
Yeah, true.
That's a good point.
What would be Oklahoma? Oklahoma's going to be oil too. You think?
Oklahoma is like the Love's truck stops. I think.
I think A&M will have like
I don't know
Whataburger.
this.
Texas Tech would have like Whataburger.
Texas Tech, who cares?
I'm just having fun with this now.
Arkansas, Tyson's Chicken, Walmart.
Walmart.
But
Definitely.
Walmart is also a big booster at Missouri.
No, Missouri have Anheuser-Busch.
That's a Belgian company now. It's not what it was.
Still, I don't know. Panera Bread. That's a St. Louis
There you
company.
go.
That's a Missouri company.
I just want Vandy to be sponsored by the Fifth Third Bank.
It's first Tennessee.
The fifth
No.
third night.
It's the Fifth Third Bank. I want Vandy to be sponsored specifically by them.
I know that, but they're already taken.
I know. Forget that. It's
Can we-
hilarious. It's like the University of California being in the Atlantic Coast Conference, and they're asking people for money to go to their school.
Third bank. So 1 1/3.
Yeah.
1 2/3.
Yeah, here we go. This is America. We do fractions.
What are those? I was absent that day in third grade. Let's see. South Carolina, who would they be? What's a South Carolina company?
Bojangles, maybe.
No.
That's North Carolina, isn't it? Charlotte.
I'm-
Charlotte. If we had NC State, or if we had a North Carolina team, it'd definitely be Bank of America.
yeah. Man, we went down a rabbit hole on these sponsors.
we
Yeah.
did.
So with the
How
Gators,
y'all know these already?
no, they would be Gatorade. Yeah.
My favorite thing is they want to think that college football is so pure about sponsorships on jerseys and all that. There's been sponsorships on jerseys for the better part of the last 30 years. It's just a Nike swoosh or an Adidas mark. It's still labeling the jersey.
Mm-hmm. You're still with a partnership. You're still in a partnership
Yes.
with that company. Yeah.
And Gatorade and the Georgia brand or Jordan brand and Florida, if they could just get good again, they'd have a nice little marketing
Yeah.
plan.
Dude, Oakland High School has a massive jump man on top of their scoreboard, by the way.
Why?
Because I don't know. I don't know why. They have some sort of partnership with Jordan brand, I guess.
Oh,
Tennessee's weird with all the recruiting that happens in high school football.
Yeah, it's broken. Like they've even were you still here, Steve, when they broke off the second class the classifications? Like when they separated it, like Division II is all private and they're allowed to recruit.
No,
Were you here when they did that?
doesn't sound familiar.
Yeah, it doesn't sound familiar.
I mean, it's a recent thing, fairly recent thing, but I don't. It was before COVID though.
Well, then I probably did know that, but I just remember talking about, hey, we're going out recruiting 7th and 8th graders.
Yeah,
And
I had to do
scouting.
that. I did
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, it's like
I did that.
it's
Father Ryan.
absolutely nuts that high school coaches are recruiting 7th graders, 8th graders for their high
Mhm.
school team. It's
It's
ridiculous.
It felt weird.
Yeah,
I
Sounds
felt
weird.
honestly, I felt weird.
felt like Herbert.
Not quite that weird, but it just felt odd.
Big muscly on paper boy.
All right.
No, definitely didn't feel that weird. Thankfully, we'd have bigger problems on our hands if that were the case. But
So for South Carolina, it's Michelin.
Mm,
Really?
Who knew they were based in South Carolina? Yeah.
Interesting.
What is Georgia? And let's look up Georgia while we're doing it because
Yeah.
who is their big booster?
Oh, I don't even know if that's a booster. That was just a big company from South Carolina. I can't figure out who the boosters are. So I guess in Georgia it'd be Coca-Cola. I don't know.
if it was just based on big companies, it'd be Coca-Cola.
Yeah. I don't know how you figure out who the biggest booster is, but maybe some of them just don't report it.
I know there's a high up exec at Coca-Cola that played at Georgia.
Well, that's usually good enough.
Yeah, you'd think they'd be getting that money then.
He played on the 1980 national championship team. All right, here we go. Does it say who the boosters are though? No, it tells me how to be a booster. It doesn't tell me.
Oh, I got an idea. I'm going to go to the website of the Georgia Collective,
I'm at the
and-
Georgia Bulldog Club,
the Classic City Collective.
the McGill Society.
Let's see.
This is great.
Yeah, this is excellent radio, everybody. I know.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was like, I found a note about South Carolina's biggest booster, but it's old. That was Darla Moore, who is a private investor. That doesn't really help.
Let's see.
That don't help at all.
Rainwater Inc., I think, is what she ran. So I don't know them.
Okay, here we go. These are the big partners of the Classic City Collective of the Georgia
Ooh.
Bulldogs.
Good job.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Truist Bank.
Ah, yeah, it makes
Oh,
sense.
so another Truist Stadium.
Yeah.
Apotheos Roastery.
Naturally.
Yeah.
It's got
Mhm.
6 locations now.
Solomon Brothers Jewelers.
Oh,
The
Not enough.
Players Lounge, which is what they use for their classic athlete appearances.
Yeah.
And then
sense.
they're like a whole bunch of stuff like the Golden Pantry and B&B Theaters and Swake.
I still think it'd be Coca-Cola. Is what it would.
Yeah, none of those are big enough to be on a field in Georgia,
Right.
except for maybe Truist.
Father Corey.
Father Corey.
Not even a Catholic. I'm a religious free agent.
Let's see.
Christian free agent.
Let's see what Ole Miss's biggest sponsor is besides Realtree. Everybody's going to know Realtree.
It's the most Mississippi thing I've ever heard.
Good point, Michael.
Ashley Furniture.
Georgia Department of Corrections. Ashley Furniture. Yes.
Couple of car dealerships. Couple of doctors. That sounds right. Some roofers.
I like my Hummer. You like
Some
your Hummer?
real estate. Yeah. Circle and Square Brewing.
Are you telling me that MUS recruits? They recruit very well, Michael.
Yes.
Very well.
At a very high level. Funkies, by the way. Funkies. Is an
They just got a new coach. MUS did.
Okay, I just got to point this out for Tennessee. Obviously, we already knew the Haslams, but just this note made me laugh. In 2021, the top donors were the Boomhauers, and I don't know why, but I like it.
Interesting.
That is awesome.
Apparently, Boomhauer is big.
I always knew that Boomhauer was a big Tennessee booster.
So would you say that Tennessee is king of the hill?
Yeah.
I'm just saying he lived in Texas, but he knew who the real UT was.
What was the whole thing? Is like there was a Texas game, and Bobby was like, is it normal that something happened and Texas lost? Is it normal that I want to kill myself? And it's like, welcome to being a Texas fan.
Yeah.
It's something like that.
Nope, I remember that. Boomhauer, I can't even figure out who he is, but anyway, yes.
Well, he's got a whole show.
Boomhauers.
He's got a whole show that he's on.
And if Vandy ever gets serious about this, they're going to be good. Everybody needs to be ready. If Vandy decides to get serious about this, they have the money to be good.
He's been saying it all along. They have one of the largest healthcare networks in the country between Vanderbilt, Centennial, and Heritage Medical Group and HCA.
Yeah,
they have all the music producers.
That's true. If HCA ever got any give him money,
I mean, it's a lot.
Yeah.
And they've got the Ingrams, who owns Nashville SC.
Yeah. They got the Ingrams and the Frists.
Yeah, the Frisk could do it too. That could be a good amount of money.
Yeah, they own the city of Nashville. If Vandy decides to do this, and I'm not talking about owns it as far as there's Vandy City. I'm talking about they literally own it.
Yeah.
Yeah, things are either Ingram, Frist, or Hill.
Yeah. You pay them rent. That's the way that works.
Yeah. It's like three families that run that own Nashville.
Mm. And they act like it.
Yes, they do. So much that Steve, have you ever heard the story, or Stephen Jebb, have you ever heard the story? That the reason why Innsworth High School came about was because the Frist wanted his, I think it was Bill Frist, wanted his daughter to go to MBA and asked them to go co-ed, and they said no. So he went and started Innsworth High School.
You just went and built Hogwarts.
God, yeah.
Just went and built Hogwarts because there's an Innsworth lower school. Like Innsworth for up until 2002 only went to 8th grade, and then fed into MBA.
What must it be like to have that much money? I'm either just gonna buy you, or I'm just gonna build something to
it's
the
cycles because there's everything is Frist.
Yeah.
Well, Andy Kennedy, what he used to say, money cannot buy happiness, but broke can't buy shit.
Yeah.
Money can't buy happiness, but it can buy me a boat. Buy me
Buy
a
your-
boat to pull it.
Yeti 110 with ice downs and some silver bullets.
Who is that? Chris Young?
Yep.
I don't know.
Or-
By the way, there was there's a viral Bama message boards post that is going around right now that depicts the differences between Kalen DeBoer and Nick Saban. And they're talking about how boosters didn't really have access to Nick Saban during practice, and he was super serious and all the stuff that you would think Nick Saban would be. That's what he did. But that's not the case with Kalen DeBoer. He likes to yuck it up with the boosters. He's not really paying attention to what's going on the field. And the players play because they love him. Jake, tell me this whole thing's horseshit.
I wish I could. That's the first I'm hearing about it, actually, but that's very interesting. Yeah, Nick Saban was, he didn't have open practices. He wouldn't let anybody in there during practice. From what I've been seeing, it's just open practice galore with Kalen DeBoer. I mean, anybody and everybody in their family can get in there and watch a practice, but that's very interesting. There are vast differences, of course. I mean, Nick Saban is probably the greatest of all time.
Mm-hmm.
We all
Why
can
probably?
agree with that. I mean, he is. Kevin DeBoer is a young and upcoming coach, and he's got his chance to prove himself at Alabama. So we'll see how it is. Now, I have always said 3 to 4 years down the road, how's this team going to look? Because that's when his players are going to be coming in and be starting. Right now, he's still playing with Saban's players. We know they're good. How is he going to recruit his players and how they're going to play on the field? That's the key in all of this.
In 1978, Ole Miss hired Steve Sloan from Texas Tech. And Texas Tech had completely turned around. They were a power in the late 70s. He was going to come to Ole Miss. He was going to fix what Johnny Vaught did just 8 years earlier. Everything was going to be fine. But Steve Sloan lost his defensive coordinator in Bill Parcells.
Ooh.
He lost his offensive coordinator. I mean, Steve Sloan is very good, but the coordinators did not make the trip over there. And Ole Miss struggled, having 4 defensive coordinators over the whole course of his tenure, and it just never worked out. He won 3 and 4 games every single year.
Let's go to Air Force from there.
I think so. Parcells got a head job at Air Force and then went into the NFL, I believe.
Yeah.
And you look at Kalen DeBoer, he lost his offensive coordinator on an offensive staff. Whoever thought, what was his name? Ryan
Sheridan or
something. He went back to
Ryan Grubb. Yeah.
Ryan Grubb. He went back to Washington, I believe.
He's with the Seahawks now.
He's with the Seahawks, yeah.
Okay. Back to Seattle.
Mhm.
And on defensive coordinator, they didn't even bring their defensive coordinator down from Washington either. They hired the guy from South Alabama. Yeah.
Kane Womack.
Kane Womack.
Mm-hmm.
And so there is a potential that Kalen DeBoer was just living off this a little bit like, who was the guy that was at Boise State before Chris Peterson that ended up at Colorado?
Dan Hawkins.
Yeah.
Dan Hawkins.
Mm-hmm.
He was everything at Boise State, and Boise State was really good and got the job at Colorado, and Colorado never could turn it around because the brains behind that organization was Chris Peterson, and he stayed at Boise.
Mm-hmm.
The question was Groves the brains behind Kalen DeBoer?
Grubb.
Ryan Grubb.
We'll
see based on A, how the Seahawks play on offense, and B, how Alabama, because it's going to be tough to see because Alabama's still so loaded that we won't know really this year. I don't think, right, Jake?
That's what I said, 3 to 4 years.
Yeah, I genuinely believe that. But the warning signs that you see, if they do not win 10 games this year, if they just go 9-3 this year, the alarm bell should be going off. The red flag should be up.
Deeper than that because
but why should it though, Steve? Because I mean, we talked about this for the show. 9-3 seasons. There's 100 other schools out there that love that. It's just the freaking mindset of this fan base. that is
but there's a truth to it because this was the lowest rank for Alabama in the AP poll at number 5 since 2009.
Yeah.
Think about that. The lowest rank that they've gotten in the AP poll is 5, and that was 15 years ago. And so they're good. They have expectations. Like I said, the fan base, if they go 9-3 and go to the Citrus Bowl, that place is going to be apocalyptic in the state of Alabama.
Yep, it will be.
Alabama goes 9-3 and goes to the Citrus Bowl. They're throwing Hugh Freeze a parade. I mean, and for basically the same thing. But the question is, if it turned out that Ryan Grubb was the brains behind that Washington team, if things didn't quite work out, if Jalen Milroe has an off game against Oklahoma and they don't beat Georgia, and Auburn slips up and gets them, 4th and 31 doesn't go their way this time, 9-3 is on the table. Honestly, in worst case scenario, 9-3 is on the table for Georgia too.
Yeah, I mean, three of your hardest games are on the road, so that's very much possible.
I mean, they could be 9-3, go to the Citrus Bowl, play against somebody, and be like Michigan in 1990, and in the Gator Bowl when they just completely destroyed Ole Miss because they had no business being in that game.
Yeah,
Georgia will be the best team in the country in 9-3.
It's like, well, it's kind of like last year where Georgia squandered the opportunity to get in the playoff because Georgia would have won the national championship if it got in the playoff. But we squandered. I mean, I'm not saying we got screwed. We screwed ourselves by having a weird second half game plan against Alabama, which was just a weird.
Saban was in Kirby's head. Saban was in all of his former coaches' heads.
Yeah, it's like Kirby would do.
Jimbo finally got.
Kirby finally beat him in a national championship game, but but Kirby did things that he doesn't normally do against Nick Saban. He out coached himself, and he would do that against nobody else.
Yeah, Lane would do that too. He would just do weird stuff against Alabama,
and you're just like, what?
It's like you don't do this in the other 11 games, but you do it here. Saban's in your head.
Yeah, obviously that's the only answer, but it's like, what are you doing?
Kirby went 4th and 11 one time against Saban, and what was that, the championship game one year? Just crazy.
Where he went for it at midfield with he brought Justin Fields in as a protector when he never brought him in all year long. What do you think's going to happen here?
Right.
Get your popcorn ready. Remember that?
And then Lane 4th and 25. For the 11-yard line, and just like, what are you doing, man?
Yeah.
Hey, Jake, I don't know how much high school football news you get around your parts, but have you heard what's going on over there at Hoover?
Oh my gosh, that's been crazy. That's down south of me, but I saw some stuff about it. That's insane.
What's going on?
The coach got fired.
Yeah.
Oh, he got fired?
Yeah.
Well, he's going to leave, but he's going. Yeah,
he resigned.
I didn't know it was official, but he was. He's gone.
Yeah, he pelvic thrusted on a high school player after he got tackled in practice.
No, and then I think the defense coordinator just bulldozed the dude after he got pretty much bulldozed on defense.
Ripped his helmet off at the same time. He shoved him and simultaneously ripped his helmet off and threw it down and walked off.
Yeah, it's bad situation down there. But I think he was at one of the other schools down here, and he never had an issue. The head coach. Yeah, and there was never an issue, they said.
Where's that school? Where's Clay?
It's down there in Birmingham area as well.
Oh, is that Clay Chalkville? Is that one?
Yeah.
I mean, maybe he was doing that kind of stuff, but nobody ever said anything about it.
Right.
Like you don't just all of a sudden do that stuff. Like you do that stuff so brazenly because
you do that because football coaches, for better or for worse, they have to virtue signal that they are alpha males.
Yeah.
They over exaggerate everything.
That's probably why I washed out, because I was never virtual signaling.
Yeah, but you have to make everybody know that you are this crazy person and you care more than everybody else of what's going on. And you worry so much about making other people do what you want, which, that is unbelievably frustrating. You can ask Corey about that.
Mhm.
But whenever you do that, it has to get more and more and more. That's the thing of the extremism. What is shocking and what gets people's attention 4 years ago is not even going to make them blink an eye this year.
Right.
So you're going to have to raise your game to make it happen. And so that virtue signaling gets louder and louder and louder and difficult. And now high school football, they have end zone cameras and the eyes and the skies that do not lie. You have to be really careful because everything is on tape. And once you cross that line, it's really easy to do in that red mist of trying to virtue signaling and everything else. You can get yourself in a lot of trouble coaching.
How about this? Here's my coach's clinic for the year. Don't do it. You don't have to. You can get your point across. You can get your team to play tough without doing all that crap. Trust me. I've done it.
It's lazy.
It's lazy. It's lazy. It's fake. It's phony. It's fraud. It's just like it's not going to make me play any harder if you dance around like you're some tough guy. Like that doesn't do anything for me.
Yeah. In high school, my coach Perry Wheat.
I just look at you like you're freaking nuts.
At McGee High School, South Mississippi. I always used to joke that 100 days. There's massive humidity. Everybody that's been in South Mississippi knows what the weather's like. That was back in the era to where drinking water during practice was a sign of weakness. To where every year it seems like in practice, you was like, oh, so-and-so died. You just hope it didn't happen at your school.
Yeah, it's like, what are we doing? Like, why,
come on, guys. Be smart.
What are we doing? Like, thankfully, my dad never did that crap because he was my head coach. We never had any of those type people. We had one guy that was just legitimately, he was just that way. He was just crazy. He was a bodybuilder, but he was just crazy. But it was 100% his personality. He was also hilarious too off the field. But yeah, I mean, I just don't understand it. Like some kid loses a rep and you're going to go over there and hump him. What is
yeah, it's weird.
What does that do? Like somebody, like I'll side with you if you can explain me the benefits.
Well, the benefit of acting like that, the benefit to the coaches, what they're thinking that makes them think to do something like that.
No, not what they're thinking. What is the benefit?
The benefit is the reaction that it gets out of the players, and hopefully it wakes them up, and you get them hyped, and you have that real.
But does
that pop of energy? It doesn't matter because it's not actually going to help them win a rep or the next person do the rep. It is fake. It is virtue signaling. It is what you think fired up should look like.
And it never.
It's not. That's not it.
Like if you yell at a kid, like okay, it's okay to yell at a kid. Like
right.
You're fine to yell at a kid. That's not the problem. The problem is running full speed and barreling through and ripping his helmet off. And then while you're probably berating him, there was no audio, but he's probably screaming at him, cussing at him, runs him over and rips his helmet off and stands over him for a second.
Yeah.
Like what does that do?
If all that was happening at Clay Chalkville, it should have been exposed then because it probably could have saved those two kids from the embarrassment that happened now.
We're scared because Clay Chalkville was successful.
Yeah, they were.
It's just that's also the other trap of high school football. If you're uberly successful, nobody's gonna expose your skeletons.
Yep.
We saw that in Varsity Blues.
Yep. Bud Kilmer. It happened with Rush Probst.
Yeah.
He was winning for a long time. Nobody exposed his skeletons until he started what? Not winning.
And there's a whole nother family of skeletons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, oh my God, like he has a what's the moving company that brings you? He has a pod full of skeletons.
Yeah. Oh wow. Yeah.
Because like everywhere he went, he's like tax evasion, distributing painkillers to student players, and there's all kind of crap that he's done.
Yeah, it's like Bud Kilmer was based off of him, apparently.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
The worst case version of Shane Falco's
You
quicksand.
stick him
Once he
with
goes
that
wrong-
needle, and I'll rip your arms off and beat you to death with them.
Mm-hmm.
That was a good Billy Bob.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Bud Kilmer and Rush Probst are starting to become the same guy. Like
Yeah.
the Last Chance U, like Buddy Stevens.
Oh, Buddy Stevens.
Like Jason Brown. I really think he's just like that. I don't think that's an act. Which
Yeah, he's real.
which
He's
is fine. I mean, that's like people will be like, "Oh, Jason Brown is this," but he's real. He's genuine.
I think Buddy
And people
Kilmer's, or not Buddy Kilmer. I think Buddy Stevens is really like that too. I just think that
But
he
he's
found out after a couple years of Last Chance U, everybody knew that he was a joke.
He's a joke, and he's kind of a racist piece of shit. But
He was in rural Mississippi. We can't act like we're surprised.
well, I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
I think the rest of the world's surprised because
Yeah.
they saw it on last.
Rural Georgia, rural Alabama, rural Louisiana. I mean, you're going to find some different people there. You star.
Don't be surprised. I mean, it doesn't make it right.
Yeah, don't be surprised. Like, yeah, don't make it right.
but
but-
don't be surprised when you see that.
Yeah.
I am not surprised. It's the rest of the world is shocked. But again, that's just who he is.
Yeah.
He's real, but
But yeah, I just don't think he's fake. That's all I'm saying.
yeah, no, he's not fake. No, he's not fake.
Yeah.
Neither is Jason Brown. He's not.
Jason Brown is like almost too real. He's literally like that Dave Chappelle skit from Chappelle's Show when keeping it real goes wrong.
Yeah,
That
that's
is
how-
the
that's why
that
he's
is the
not coaching.
Jason Brown's lifestyle.
That's why he's not coaching anymore. When keeping
Yeah.
it real goes wrong,
Mhm.
he went a little too far. That's saying something. I mean, if he's doing that on Netflix, I mean, what are we not seeing? But I mean, his players, he's got results. His players love him. I mean, I don't think any of the
Yeah, if you ask him, he could coach Steve Spurrier and Nick Saban underneath the field. He's the greatest football coach that's ever lived.
love it. But no, he was. I enjoyed his season. Was my favorite on his 2 seasons were my favorite on last year.
I prefer the East Mississippi Community College seasons.
Well, of course, you're a Mississippi guy.
Well, I'm a Mississippi guy, but that was the original Last Chance U. The ones that happened with Jason Brown and that one that they did out in California, that was like add-ons. The original Last Chance U was in East Mississippi because there's nothing around that place.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, well, there's nothing in Independence.
Whatever happened to Miss Brittany?
I don't know. She's a private consultant, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I think she left.
Well, she definitely left, but
Yeah,
she left after the last season of East Mississippi that they were on.
it's been a minute for that one. That was whenever I lived in Smyrna.
Yeah, but no, I remember. Independent. They ain't shit in Independence either, but
Or Kansas, really.
or
Really
Kansas,
real, yeah.
the entire state.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
no.
Sunflower State.
So Jeb, I bring you with great regret that I think the chatter of Joe Milton being the starter for the Patriots is starting to kind of die down a little bit.
It's dying down a little bit, ain't it?
no.
I can't
So-
believe it.
Yeah.
I mean, Drake
It's because he hasn't thrown an orange yet, right?
Right.
So they don't need him to throw it 40 yards?
Oh,
Steve, we're setting it up on a
you
tee.
can't
I
pin it
know,
over
yeah.
a tee like that.
Yeah.
Okay, if you want the ball thrown 40 yards, you can throw it 40 yards. If you don't want to throw it on 40 yards, he can throw it 40 yards. Okay, we did it.
We ooped it
And
for you.
Joe Milton was the only person in the stadium that didn't want to run when Ole Miss played him,
Right.
or
Yeah.
didn't want to throw something.
didn't want to throw something. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. He ran all night.
Yeah, he
Right
ran
out
out
of
of bounds.
Yeah.
Yeah. No time left. Oh, let me just go out of bounds here. I don't want
But,
to get hit.
but Jeb, I was watching that game, just going, God, Joe Milton is going to do something. Joe Milton's like going to do it against all the people that aren't going to be playing for the Panthers next year. And I swear that first third down, they brought the house, and he ran around like freaking Johnny Manziel back there, and then got the first down. I was like, that's going to be on. that's going to be on X.
He's just impressively gifted athletically.
Who is going to be the starter for the Cardinals?
Kyler Murray.
Is he hurt again?
No, he's not hurt.
Well, I was wondering because Joshua Dobbs looked really good the other night against Tennessee when he was in.
One of my favorite memes that are
yeah,
out
he's
there.
going to be the backup in San Francisco, I think.
Yeah.
Was it playing San Francisco?
Yeah, that was San Francisco.
My bad. Who just started? Oh, who just started?
Brock
San
Purdy.
Francisco?
Yeah, Brock
Oh,
Purdy
that's
didn't
right,
play. So
Yeah, that's right. But he looked. Yeah.
One
But
of my
Josh Dobbs,
favorite
yeah, he
memes.
does look good.
Yeah,
Josh
one of
Dobbs
my
really good.
favorite memes that are out there is Kyler Murray is like Mario before the mushroom.
Oh yeah,
When you
just
see,
that thought. That thought.
I love that.
Terrible.
Yep.
No, I don't know why Dobbs never gets more of a chance. He always looks decent. He never looks great. Like he's not going to put up 400 yards passing in a game or anything. But
Because
You said
he's
the touchdown run he had the other night. That was pretty impressive.
yeah,
He got
Hey.
blitzed and got out of it and scored a touchdown.
is
He's
Stetson
good.
Bennett going to make that team? His team?
ooh, I think he had a rough game. Did y'all see that?
he had a simultaneously rough game and good game.
He
It was
capped it off in the end.
It was the weirdest game ever because like he threw 3 interceptions, but he threw the game-winning touchdown, and everybody's like, "Hey, Stetson Bennett." But
Yeah,
he might make it as a third stringer. I think Josh Dobbs should be the backup in San Francisco. I think he's a great backup. He comes in, he can start 2 or 3 games for you and not see much drop off. But if he's going to start 17 games, it ain't gonna happen.
yeah.
I hate to say that. I like Josh Dobbs, but it's just he's got a ceiling.
So
Very hard ceiling.
in New England, if Joe Milton's dropping off, is that because Drake May is actually doing well? The
Yeah.
little I've seen of him seems like he's not
Yeah.
doing that well.
Drake May is starting to get comfortable and taking over and playing like
Okay.
Drake May
I figured he would eventually.
instead of an imposter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Drake May's just out.
Have we thought to ask Josh Dobbs about Joe Milton? Because Josh Dobbs does build rocket ships. He could probably tell you what was wrong.
That's true.
He is literally a rocket scientist.
I'm
He
just
could be a good mentor.
I was impressed with Will Levis the other night though. I'm solid behind him now.
I thought he looked good. I thought
Yeah.
J.C. Latham looked a little rough, but he's in a tough.
Right.
I mean, he's a
Brian
rookie. playing
Callahan
left
was a
tackle.
hell of a Brian
Right.
Callahan was a hell of a hire. I'll give
Yeah.
it.
Oh yeah, I think our wide receivers and I really like the way our offense is looking.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And Pollard had a really good game.
We were
Yeah.
smooth. We had identity, like the
Yeah.
operation, which it was not predictable.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah.
Derek
No, I'm-
Carr looked like crap, and Spencer Rattler had the game-winning touchdown pass.
That's a yeah.
Wow.
All right, then.
Steve. You sure you don't want to jump ship?
Yeah.
Oh,
And
I heard Carr's about to
Jake
get traded.
and Jake Hayner had a pretty good game too.
He did.
I heard Derek Carr's about to get traded
He needs to get executed.
to the
Oh,
Vikings.
Lord.
Yes.
The Vikings do need somebody, but
Yes.
Jesus.
Sam Darnold. Holy cow!
Yeah.
And JJ.
I am over Derek Carr. Over Derek Carr.
we play y'all. It's still preseason game when we play.
And Dennis Allen. I'm not a huge fan of Dennis Allen either.
Well, Steve, just make the switch.
Yeah.
I can't.
Just
I can't.
make the switch.
When you root it for Kenny Stabler as a Saints quarterback, it is hard to not root for the Saints.
Kenny State was a good one.
make the change.
Not when he played for the Saints.
Make,
Yeah.
Yeah. Not when he played for the Saints, no, but
I feel like I remember when the Saints had quarterbacks that would throw backwards. Oh,
he,
Yeah.
he was
Hey.
he was the snake after it ate a large mouse.
Corey.
Oh, 2 minutes. Well, speaking of this, Michael Speck, you're looking at one right here. I'm an educator, so there you go.
I'm a happy poor person.
So 2 minutes. So yeah, so this is going to be fun, man. We got games next week. Football is right here. More preseason NFL that we can talk about as well. This is going to be a
It's
fun
football season, baby.
and there's
Yeah,
it's a different air.
We actually talk about games. Picks are
Oh, I
back.
can't wait.
Picks are back. I love it.
Picks.
I'm here for it. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it.
I know,
I'm ready.
Jug-
I'm ready. I'm like a kid on Christmas.
I got to
Yeah,
build the
yeah.
spreadsheet and all of that to send it to everybody.
Yep.
I get to watch
Yeah.
Buster. I
Right.
get to watch Buster. I have to root for Tech for some reason. I just want him to score a lot of
That's-
points. I don't necessarily want him to win, but
Listen, before we get off the air,
Buster Faulkner, offensive coordinator.
starting next week or the week after that, what do y'all say to try and bring somebody in with us to have like a guest picker that week?
We'll talk about
Oh,
that in 90 seconds, guys. Let's get out.
All right.
But you're listening to the SEC After Dark podcast with Stephen Willis, the host of Locked On Ole Miss. When you think of Ole Miss podcast, you think of Stephen Willis. Jeb Beecham coming at you from Olin Mills. He's probably taken 25 glamour shots today. Hope they all went smooth. Jake Thomas, Tide Talk Live, hanging on by a thread. Soon to be, hopefully, Tide Talk After Dark or Tide.
Be sure to contribute to Jeb's commissary account, please.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
He's getting bullied down there, poor guy.
Yeah.
And then I cover both ends of the spectrum of the SEC, as you can see from behind me.
The
Vandy.
mouth and the ass. Anyway.
There we go. Jake Thomas, the human centipede, right here. Let's go.
Find us on the hub. Are we going? Is our next venture on the hub? Anyway, I cover Locked On Vandy for the Locked On Network, and I cover Georgia for the Believe Network, Believe the Georgia Dogs. So the highs and the lows, the peaks and the valleys. So together we join forces. SEC After Dark. You find us wherever you find your podcast and on YouTube. Thank you for listening. We hope to see you back here next week when we have
Picks.
Peace out.
No voice of God.
Go Dogs. Anchor down. Voice of God. Get your ass in here next week.
Mm-hmm.
Go
Roll
Vols.
Tide. Roll Tide.
Yeah, there we go.